You know, during that press conference, this particular reporter asked Donald Trump a straight-out question. Have any of his campaign circle contacts, people that he works directly with, had any contact with the Russian government? And Donald Trump basically danced his way through it. But you're going to see a list, faces and names, of the people that are or were part of Donald Trump's inner circle, including family members that specifically have ties or relationships to Vladimir Putin and Russia. Here we go.
Can you say whether you are aware that anyone who advised your campaign had contacts with Russia during the course of the election?
Well, I told you, General Flynn obviously was dealing, so that's one person, but he was dealing as he should have been.
During the election?
No, nobody that I know of.
So you're not aware of any contacts during the course of the election?
How many times do I have to answer this question?
Can you just say
Russia is a ruse. Yeah, I know you have to get up and ask a question, so but Russia is a ruse. I have nothing to do with Russia. Haven't made a phone call to Russia in years. Don't speak to people from Russia. Not that I wouldn't, I just have nobody to speak to. I have nothing to do with Russia. To the best of my knowledge, no person that I deal with does.
See, now that in itself was a lie, okay? Because he knows damn well that Tillerson had dealings with Russia. Obviously Flynn did because he fired him. But his own daughter is best friends with Putin's girlfriend. Anyway, here's the Joy giving you a list of the people that are right next to Donald Trump that have had specific dealings that are documented with Putin and Russia.
Donald Trump says he has nothing to do with Russia, hasn't made a phone call to Russia in years. Well, then it must be quite a coincidence that his inner circle certainly seems to have so many ties to Moscow and to the Putin, as Trump calls Russian President Vladimir Putin in his tweets. First, there's General Michael Flynn, the one-time paid contributor to Russian propaganda arm RT, who resigned this week after less than a month as National Security Advisor over his failure to disclose phone conversations with the Russian ambassador, in which potentially easing U.S. sanctions were discussed. Then there's Trump Tower resident Paul Manafort, who was Trump's campaign manager at the time of the WikiLeaks email dumps, but who resigned in August amid reports that he turned up on a list of people who were paid by former Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych, a pro-Russian politician. And this is Carter Page, a former investment banker who worked in Moscow. He was a Trump campaign foreign policy advisor until last August and is the guy thought to have changed the Ukraine plank in the Republican platform at last year's convention. He left the campaign as U.S. intelligence officials were reportedly investigating whether he communicated with Russian officials about lifting U.S. sanctions. And of course, he's denied those allegations. There's Roger Stone, a longtime Trump consigliere. On Thursday, he too denied claims that he had regular contacts with the Russians during last year's campaign. But at the time, he bragged that he was in contact with WikiLeaks and tweeted in advance that WikiLeaks was going to drop a bomb that would destroy the Clinton campaign. Then there's Boris Epshteyn, a Russian-born American and White House aide, who you may remember was a guest on this show numerous times as a senior advisor to Trump's 2016 campaign. According to Media Matters, Epshteyn has financial ties to the former Soviet Union, which includes consulting and moderating a Russian-sponsored conference in 2013 on investment opportunities in Russia. Trump's Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is the former CEO of ExxonMobil, which has strong financial ties to Russia's state-owned oil company. And Tillerson has previously lobbied against U.S. economic sanctions imposed on Russia for its annexation of Crimea in 2014. Well, he's been called the American with the closest personal ties to Putin. And he's a former recipient of Russia's Order of Friendship Award, which is not a common thing for an American to receive. In 2008, Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., traveled to Russia a half dozen times in 18 months looking for deals, though none actually materialized. And he said, quote, "We see a lot of money pouring in from Russia," unquote. And Trump's daughter, Ivanka, is a longtime friend of Vladimir Putin's girlfriend, Wendi Deng Murdoch, the ex-wife of Fox News owner Rupert Murdoch. And last but not least, there's the Donald himself. Throughout the years, the Trump Organization developed several projects abroad, many of them involving Russian money. And his personal affinities and travel to Moscow date back to the late 1980s. Trump also took the Miss Universe pageant to Moscow in 2013, funded by $20 million from a Russian billionaire. And when we come back, we'll take a closer look at the possible impact.
All right, so right there, you can say whatever you want, but Donald Trump is mobbed up with Vladimir Putin and the Russians. There are just too many people circling around him for him not to have been touched by the Russian bear. And I'm hoping that these congressional investigations dig down deep enough in order to unearth this, because the smoking gun is going to be them tying obviously Russia, which actually did the hacking, and WikiLeaks, which actually did do the information dump, to someone who actually coordinated the dumping of the information. Probably Roger Stone is going to be up under a massive microscope. But Manafort in and out, and obviously Flynn taking money for giving speeches and sitting at the same table with Putin. There's just too much stuff here. And I said it before, I'll say it again. They got something on Trump. You know, they had something on Flynn. Flynn's out. And as soon as we can confirm the stuff that they have on Trump, there is going to be a shitstorm.